Thank you. Well, first, I'd like to thank the organization for making this presentation possible, despite the drawbacks I suffered. And after the lunch, I hope that you will be more relaxed. From the Spanish Mint Museum, Museo Casa de la Moneda, we are very pleased to be back in this forum of the ICOMON, presenting the best coinage collection we have. Unfortunately, the co-presenter, Mrs. Lopez, is unable to attend as she would like due an injury, but I'm sure she will have the opportunity in a further congress. From here, I wish she recovers soon. And this presentation is to show you how we made with the small digitalization and 3D modeling with the best pieces of our italic cash coinage collection, who was complete last year with the acquisition of the famous Falani collection, one of the best, the most balanced of, excuse me, of italic cash currency, and together with the pieces that already we have, we have now a total of 539 pieces, and my boss says that it is undoubtedly the most important of its kind in the world. Someone here maybe could prove, can prove otherwise, but it's not my boss says. In this collection, we find large monetary specimens of currency made using the technique of casting and pouring bronze. Most of them from the Republican Rome and from Italic peoples, Etruria, Umbria, and others. And in the period between the 8th and the 3rd centuries before Christ. And here I'm showing you some pictures of what kind of pieces compose the collection. First, the most primitive, the Ars Rude, they are, as the name says, bronze or pieces with no standard weight and disconnected from any centralized issuing authority. It was also as raw material, and at this time we have to remember that the most conventional metallic objects were still manufactured with bronze, nails, cooking accessory, or even the worship bronze. To its side, we find the as formatum. It conveys, it was at the same time, more or less. And it's metallic currency with the shape of object used traditionally as means of exchange, such cells, slingshot, projectiles, or axe head. And then we have all, metal bars, seen to show a regulated production of cast bronze in the workshops as a stock of raw material to manufacture objects of all types. Some of them wears a mark, seem to be a branch, and they are called ramo seco, but the weights differ totally. Then the Roman, in the 3rd century, the Roman state enters and make a regulation of it. First, with the bronze ingots known as aesignatum. They have a rectangular shape and standard weight around 1,600 grams, more or less. They are magnificent pieces of art with motifs in obverse and reverse, such weapons as this spear, vegetables, and also allegories. And finally came the ice grave system, who brought a monetary organization for the weight-based bronze system. The monetary unit is the as, the 327 gram pound. And it has for the first time recognizable appearance connected to its value, as we can see, with marks of value and different types by the verse and reverse. And finally, this system underwent several weight reductions, and in the context of the Second Punic War, Rome cast a large bronze piece for the last time, the decusis, the largest and heaviest coin ever cast by the Roman, with the mark of value X, 10 asses, just the same value as the silver denarius created around that time. This, the decusis, is the central and most valuable piece of our collection. And now we have made this with photogrammetry. Probably most of you know how photogrammetry works, but I said that it's a technique that generates semi-automatically three-dimensional models from multiple photographs in 2D. This technique provides really good results with a relatively economical process, resulting in a 3D model with photorealistic texture. Its application on coins is amazing. It enables the viewing of pieces by obverse and reverse. Here we have a diagram who shows the process. No? It begins in one position and it finishes in taking pictures of the whole object, and all these pictures will be integrated into a 3D mesh of the scanned object. The goal of this project was to acquire 3D models of the most important pieces of the collection, 29 pieces, including all the types mentioned. 3D models are a fantastic conservation tool. We can offer consultation to any piece by photogrammetry to specialists without having to expose the piece to ambient. Also, photogrammetric model can be displayed next to the piece to allow visitors to view for our size. And we have already tested these models in our museum in the exhibition of the Italic coinage collection for this presentation. By using QR stickers next to the urns, so the people can scan it with their mobile device and they could see it in our page, and also with an interactive stand with an app called Aerarium Romae, but it does the same. It's for the visitors to see the pieces with the photogrammetry process and the whole model composition. And this is the website, the fruit of our labor with the company Ars Media. And I cannot show you how to use your page. Instead, I will give you not 2 minutes, but I will give you 30 seconds of my time to take pictures of it. And yeah, and just tell me. We accept suggestions later, and just tell me how it is, how you find it, and yeah, I think with this thing of the QR codes, maybe I could put this on this QR, but I forgot. So please take the pictures and please visit the page after the presentation. And as conclusions, we can conclude that using this technique, we achieve several objectives. We contribute to the preservation of the pieces because we reduce the handling needs. We can make our collection accessible on the internet, or at least part of it. We complement the exhibition of the physical piece with a resource that offers extended information, because it also has a sheet with the characteristics of the piece, and the possibility to see it all its faces. And we offer interactive educational entertainment to the visitor that relieves the explanatory density of a sample, which is something. Our goal, increase the number of virtualized pieces on display during the tour. We want to make it only with the most important and beautiful pieces. For the other thing, we will have the online database that we are working on it. So this is all. Thank you for the attention, and that's everything. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Florent Audi, and I'm going to talk about the new exhibition at the Economic Museum in Stockholm, Pedagogical Focus. My colleague, Caroline Gonelius, is sick, unfortunately. She was supposed to present the huge work that has been done with interactivity and learning on a general level in the exhibition, and I was supposed to present a case study. Caroline and I had completely different role in the project, so it would feel weird for me to read her text and talk about something that I do not know very well. So with her approval, I will just focus on the case study today, and we will see how much pedagogy is left after I was given the whole stage. So this was Caroline's part, and now we come to the case study, which is called the Money Matrix. The Money Matrix is an interactive game on daily economy that you can play in the exhibition. It relies on simple mechanics. Time travel, players travel to different time periods to meet people from these periods and spot the mistakes, a mechanic that speaks to everybody. No explanation on how to play is actually needed. From the beginning, our goal was to create a game that focused on real economic data. The challenge was to find the right concept, how to use this data in a fun way without altering them. That is why we chose these mechanics. You are not playing a medieval farmer, you are meeting a medieval farmer, or you are meeting these profiles. The target group for the game is young teenagers and their families. This explains the design that was chosen reminding of comic books, and we'll see some more examples later. But the big question is, why having a game in the exhibition? Of course, it is a way to reach new target groups and also outside the museum, since the game can be accessed from home. But for me, we worked with objects and content. This was not the main point of departure. Having a game is actually a way to overcome the limitations of the exhibition. We have limited space, limited time. We must limit ourselves also when it comes to the number of objects, when it comes to the length of the text. And let's be honest, what disappears in this kind of cases is, because of that, it's diversity. You cannot deal, and complexity as well, you cannot deal with all groups, you cannot deal with all types of individuals, you cannot deal with all economies. Having a game is also a way to overcome the object's limitations. Objects tell many stories, but we rarely can put a face on them. Coins have a face on them, but not the face of the users. And it's especially hard when dealing with the older periods of history. We don't know so much about those who use these objects. And other questions, what about the non-monetary economy, daily life? Our collections are not so well suited to explain these aspects. So of course, at the same time, this game is a way to reach new target groups and to reach outside the museum, which is very, very important because it's a part of the mission assigned to us by the government. As I said earlier, this game relies heavily on real data. As a museum, we have the responsibility to live up to the trust visitors have in us. So we have used many different types of sources, estate inventories, archaeological finds, tax registers, diaries, and so on. And we have combined primary sources like this one. This is an estate inventory from must be from the 1700s. And we have combined these primary sources with secondary sources as well, especially recent research. From these sources, we could extract a large amount of economic data, incomes, prices, properties, and so on. Of course, with significant differences between different periods. For instance, there is almost no information about price during the Viking Age. Then all this data were combined to create fictive characters. And I insist on the word fictive. These profiles are realistic, but fictive. There are two reasons for this choice. Firstly, it is almost impossible to collect sufficient information on real individuals, especially on those belonging to lower groups in society. And secondly, this gave us some room for imagination and to tell a story. So here is an example of a fictive profile from 1740. She's called Karen Larsdotter. She's a housemaid from Gothenburg. Her profile is mainly based on a diary written by Anna Greta Weiland, a housemaid from Gothenburg from that period, where she kept track of her incomes and expenses. This diary is unpublished, but it was recently included in a research project in Uppsala called Gender and Work. So this information was combined with that from estate inventories of maids of the same age, so 25 or 30. And by doing so, we obtain a concrete and representative example of an individual living in the 1740s with a precise description of her economy. We can see how a housemaid looked like, what she had for clothes, what she had for remuneration, examples of what she owned, and so on. We've tried to structure the data in a pedagogical way, creating different groups. The texts are as short as possible, and there are many images and numbers to make the data easy to digest and compare. We also have this small text under the picture where Karen introduces herself. So this is a high perspective. You're meeting these people and they tell about themselves. This text also plays an important role because it gave us the possibility to emphasize central ideas. Here, that she could spend her salary however she pleased because she's unmarried. But we have tried as much as possible to have the data under these categories so that they can be compared and easy to digest. In total, 31 profiles, like the one we've just seen, were created for the game, divided into 5 periods: 950, 1540, 1740, 1870, and 1950. Each period is actually a station in the exhibition, meaning that you can just explore 5 to 7 profiles on each screen. If you're playing from home, you can explore all the profiles as you please. These 31 individuals are all different. There are men, women, rich people, poor people, adults, and children. Several minorities also are represented with, for instance, 2 Sami profiles. And we have tried to include different jobs as well, from farmer and mine worker to city mayor and bankman. And there are also students, retired people. So this is people with very different backgrounds. What is also important is that these 31 profiles represent different parts of the country, as far as the Arctic Circle in the north and Lund in the south. Some live in cities, others live on the countryside. They are from all over Sweden. So with these profiles, the visitors can discover a complex economic history with important differences between groups and individuals. At the same time, they can see how these differences evolved through times, since it is the same structure that is used for all the stations. And how do we use these profiles that we have created, these 31 profiles? They are then used in the game, where they are part of a narrative that is meant to catch the interest of young teenagers. For each period, one of the profiles includes 3 mistakes. So this is the profile of the evil agent that you need to find when you play the game. One challenge was, of course, to find the right level of difficulty, like what kind of mistakes should be included or should be chosen. Not too easy, not too hard, and of course this depends a lot on what kind of knowledge the visitor has. That is why we also chose to have different types of mistakes. Some are more logical mistakes, others are like anachronistic mistakes, and these different kinds of things, so that the visitor, depending on the visitor's background, can play whatever the background the visitor has. The concept find the mistake is also very interesting from a pedagogical point of view, because it requires the visitor to read carefully through the profiles. To find the mistakes, you need to understand, compare, and analyze the data. Moreover, it gives us the possibility to emphasize important information. Here, that child benefit was introduced in 1948. It's here. And the page that you can see is the page that you get when you found the profile with mistakes. So when you found the agent in the game, you are explained what the mistakes are and why there are mistakes. So, and finally, I've talked a lot about the qualities of the game, but not so much about its limitations. One problem, for instance, is that we focus a lot on individuals, which is not always the most relevant economic unit when dealing with ancient periods. There are many other things that are not perfect in the game, but the feedback is pretty good so far. We will see after this presentation and after you've seen the exhibition and played the game if this feedback is still pretty good. I hope so. But what is actually fun is that there are many people playing the game in the exhibition, especially young people, which is a way to attract their attention and then direct them to the object as well, because that's the heart of the exhibition, and that's what is very important for us. And because I sent this PowerPoint for a long time ago in advance. I forgot to have a slide with a link to the game, but you can find it on the Economy Museum webpage. It's easy to find, and there you can also find on this page a list of all those who contributed to the game, because it was like it was a big project, almost a project within the project. We were several people, some working with the content, or other with pedagogy, with the design, with the, so it's very interesting too. It was also a very interesting project from a collaborative point of view. So if you want to see who worked on that and who did what, you can also have a look at the webpage. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Francisca, and I'm excited to share our commitment to enhancing museum education through collaborative temporary exhibition. As one of the communication channels for Bank Indonesia, Museum Bank Indonesia serves as a facility for educational recreation, blending entertainment and education, what we call edutainment. We offer a variety of public programs aimed at informing and engaging the community. One of our key methods of interaction is through temporary exhibition. We have over 750,000 numismatic items from the Nusantara era to present, and 12 heritage buildings, and also 3 main clusters in museum. We are also proud that our visitor numbers have grown from year to year. Most of our visitors are Gen Z, and we know they play a vital role in today's society. This is a proof that the museum is not only a cultural hub, but also play a significant role in education and community outreach. Our strategy is in line with the new museum definition from ICOMON in 2022. We are committed to ensuring the museum is accessible to everyone, regardless of background, physical ability, or cultural differences. This is our framework as our principle to do something over in working programs. Overall, our museum is more than just a traditional institution. It's a key player in education and public engagement. That's why we embrace the tagline, "Bukan museum biasa," aka not an ordinary museum. Our program are divided into 7 key areas, as you can see here. And now let's dive into our temporary exhibition titled Rupiah Tells About the East Indonesia.
Hi everyone, I will continue about the presentation. My name is Bunga, and I know maybe it's quite harder to pronounce, but maybe you can think about the flower because Bunga means flower in English. Okay, so I'm really excited to be here to share more about our exhibition. It is the latest our exhibition temporary named Rupiah Tells About the East Indonesia. But maybe before we dive into deep in strength about the exhibition, I would like to share about the name of the program. It's Documentary, or the Communication and Education of Numismatic History. The program for the commentary is divided into 4 zones, and the first zone is nature for Indonesia and the world. And also this zone is showcasing about the iconic flora and fauna, also along with famous tourism places. And the second is culture from the East. The culture from the East, here visitor can explore more about the unique cultural elements, also the traditional elements, and like the instrument, also the culture. And the third segment is national heroes. On this section, we honor 6 national heroes from Eastern Indonesia who contribute to Indonesia independence and development. And the last, or the fourth zone, is from Bank Indonesia. In here, we showcase how the rupiah, our currency, is distributed in Eastern Indonesia and highlight about Bank Indonesia policies. And also, the most exciting about this exhibition, we do some collaborative with various museum stakeholders and engage with public figures. For example, in this exhibition, we perform about the monologue with artist named Chelsea Islan. Also, we have cloth weaving from artists in Indonesia. Also, we have plays traditional instruments. And the exhibition also contain about the collaboration with the 3 stakeholders in Indonesia. There are Maluku Provincial Liaison Office, also Mateo, and Museum Textile. They are showcasing their collection in this exhibition. And additionally, 3 stakeholders are showcasing also their collection, and we collaborating with 3 foundations from Eastern region of Indonesia to make the donation activation. And also, to deepen the experience, we have side events. There are 6 events, and we have to collaboration with stakeholders. There are like traditional dance, also various workshop, talk show and curated tour, and also interactive experience called Immersive Hunt. You can see the details on the screen and the photo also. So, in the conclusion, this latest exhibition shows how museums can combine diverse artifacts and perspective to create a rich visitor experience. By collaboration, we know we can strengthen our network and make education even better and more impactful. And at the end of this presentation, we invite you all to come to Museum Bank Indonesia directly, and maybe we can do some collaboration later. Perhaps we can explore about the new themes, or maybe we can expand the partnership and also interactive events on. So, last but not least, maybe you all can follow our social media. It's named museum_BE. And maybe we both perfect in time, so thank you and see you.
Good afternoon. I want to start by saying thank you to the organizers for including us in this conference. It is a privilege to be here, not only with so many fantastic colleagues from the field of numismatics, but also to be together as a collaborative team. Today, 3 members of our project team are going to tell you about our new collaborative web exhibition called Preservation Through Circulation, Ukraine's Enduring Statehood and Heritage. This project began over 2 years ago and was initiated by colleagues at the National Museum of the History of Ukraine in the Second World War, also known as the War Museum. after they learned that Rebecca and I had developed exhibitions at the Smithsonian featuring Ukrainian stamps and monetary objects in response to the Russian invasion beginning in February 2022. Their director, Dr. Yuri Savchuk, is going to start off with some remarks about the important work that their museum is doing in the context of the war. And then Rebecca and I will tell you about how our 3 museums worked collaboratively to build our new web exhibition, as well as the goals of the project and our approach to collaborating. Dr. Savchuk.
Dear colleagues and friends, first of all, I would like to thank organizers for the opportunity to be here. My special thanks to the Smithsonian Institution for our partnership and great support. I will tell you very briefly about our museum during the war. The National Museum of the History of Ukraine in Second World War, one of the largest museums in Ukraine. This year it marks its 50 years anniversary. Our main building is located under the Motherland Monument, the tallest monument in Europe with height of 102 meters. During the full-scale Russian invasion, the main mission of the museum is to document the ongoing war. This is the key topic of our exhibition now. After the 24th of February 2022, our museum had more than 600,000 visitors. Since 2022, the museum collected more than 14 artifacts of war. The majority of them became exhibits in the field expeditions to the liberated areas. The most recent expedition took place in the borderlands between Ukraine and Kursk region of Russia, and the new exhibition was created as a result of it. In total, the museum's exhibitions were presented in Ukraine and 15 countries. Here you can see 2 projects. The exhibition Ukraine Crucifixion is the world's first exhibition based on the original artifacts of the current war. It was present in Kiev on the 8th of May 2022. 4 international exhibitions were created on its basis. One of them next to the United Nations headquarters in New York. Second exhibition is Crossroads, Sweden-Ukraine 1000 years. It was opened by His Majesty King Charles XVI Gustav in the Swedish Army Museum. This is the largest international museum project of Ukraine ever. The museum received several international awards for war documentation and exhibition activities. During the Russian aggression, there are 2 main tasks for Ukrainian museums. First is to protect Ukrainian heritage from Russian attacks. Second is to integrate Ukrainian culture in global cultural process. For this, it's necessary to spread knowledge about Ukrainian culture and history around the world. Numismatics help us because money is not only economic resource, but also international language of communication. We are glad to have each opportunity of international cooperation, and we are proud to have the Smithsonian Institution as our partner. Now I want to give the floor to our American colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you, Yuri.
Thank you for your attention.
As numismatists, you all know that small circulating objects carry a great deal of meaning and can be powerful representations of cultural heritage. As they travel, they carry evidence of the places they were made and the people who made them. This project capitalizes on that. In it, we unite coins, banknotes, and stamps from 3 museum collections in order to showcase Ukraine's diverse cultural heritage spanning more than 1,000 years. As Russian leaders seek to erase Ukrainian national and cultural identity by actively targeting heritage sites, these small circulating objects have an outsized role in preserving this heritage in pockets, mailboxes, and collections around the globe. Our project's primary goal is to use numismatic and philatelic objects to educate the public about Ukraine's distinct history, as well as its at-risk cultural heritage, and highlight that it is critical that that heritage is protected, preserved, and shared. We launched our web exhibition just a little over a month ago on Ukraine's Independence Day, August 24th, and it is available online on the War Museum's website and on the Smithsonian Global website in both English and Ukrainian. The artifacts we feature, together with contextual images and a few object images sourced from outside our collections, represent a unique cross-section of Ukraine's enduring heritage. From a delicate 11th century gold zlatnik coin to trident stamps issued by the Ukrainian People's Republic in 1918, to recent banknotes and stamps showcasing Ukraine's most recognizable buildings, such as St. Sophia Cathedral in Kyiv, to brand new stamps and banknotes already telling the story of the ongoing war and its impact. Together, these objects showcase Ukrainian history, diversity, and resilience. Now, I'm going to give you a very, very brief overview of our web exhibition, but I hope you will all explore it more fully online. Our exhibit is organized into 2 main sections. The first explores 3 key symbols of Ukrainian statehood and identity: the trident, the national flag, and the emerging symbol of the sunflower. Centering the expertise of our Ukrainian members of the team, we provide our visitors with an overview of the origins of each of these symbols, and then use objects featuring these symbols to teach our online visitors key information about Ukraine's complex and rich history, as well as how its citizens and the global community are responding to the war since February 2022. The second section of the exhibition features an interactive map of Ukraine. When a digital visitor clicks on one of the stars of the map, they will see a coin, a stamp, or a banknote featuring a heritage site at the location and a recent image of the status of that site, and I'll show you what that looks like. When you click on the star located in the Kharkiv region in eastern Ukraine, you will see these images. On the left, it is a first-day cover of a stamp issued in Ukraine in 2022 featuring the Skovoroda Museum, named for the famous 18th century philosopher and poet. On the right, you will see the state of the museum after it was deliberately destroyed by a Russian missile in 2022. And this is another example. Because of time, I won't go too deep into it, but I just want to point out that our project covers only a small portion of the tens of thousands of diverse historic sites across the country, including ancient ruins, medieval palaces and tombs, churches, synagogues, museums, monuments, and libraries. We hope that this project will raise awareness of these sites and their national and global importance. And I'll very briefly hand off to my colleague Rebecca from the National Postal Museum.
I might also, in the interest of time, just quickly show you 2 of the stamps that are featured in our symbol section. On the left is one of the first stamps produced by Ukraine in 1918, the 40 Shahiv, when the country first declared its independence. This design, which prominently features the national emblem of the trident in the center of the stamp, was also used for circulating paper money. On the right are Ukrainian stamps that were issued in the summer of 2022, 6 months into Russia's invasion. If you look closely, you can spot a Ukrainian flag atop a tractor that's pulling a Russian tank. As the stamps from 2022 circulate globally, they assert Ukrainian identity and preserve an event in Ukrainian history, just as the 40 Shahiv stamp did in 1918. You might be wondering how we made this collaboration work. Despite the war in Ukraine, our geographic distance from one another, and different time zones, we were all committed to seeing this project through. Over the past 2 years, we corresponded by email, exchanging drafts, images, and links. We also met a handful of times over Zoom, but this conference represents the first time we're meeting in person. It was important to Ellen and I throughout this project to center the Ukrainian perspective and ensure that it was the Ukrainian voice that shaped the interpretation. Yes, we researched and we dove into our prospective museum collections, but it was through our email exchanges and our conversations with our colleagues that we gained the most insight into Ukraine's distinct history. It's our hope that the online exhibition reflects the Ukrainian perspective for a global audience. And with that, we'd like to take this moment to thank our partners for their collaborative spirit, their patience, and their wisdom. We are proud and grateful to stand here with you today.
Okay. Thank you, Damon. I'm the last one before the pause, so hold on. We can do this. And first of all, I wanted to say I'm really glad to be here. Jag är glad över att vara här. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. This is not Swedish 101, but it's important for me to say that to thank the Swedish, the Ekonomiska Museet, Cecilia, the ICOMON, for this organization and also for the great museum you just created. Now, I'm starting. My name is Raphael. I work in a museum called Citeco. I'm an exhibition coordinator as well as a finance guy. And I will present you a case study how an exhibition, how a project helps us to reach beyond. First of all, I will give you some context, so who we are, what we do, and then I will explain how this project managed to go to a next step. So who we are. I work for Citeco, la Cité de l'économie, so it's an economic museum. It's an interactive museum dedicated to understanding the economics. We are based in Paris, and we opened in a very beautiful mansion, historical mansion, as you can see. And we opened in 2019, so just before the COVID. It was perfect timing. The gods were with us. And we target the young people among all. The young public is a very interesting target for us. So that comes to our challenge. There are two challenges. The first one is how to, economics is a complex topic. It's not very appealing, maybe not for people in this room here, but for the general public it is. So how to address this? First challenge. Second challenge, in Paris, there is in other cities as well, there is a fierce competition. So it's hard to be attractive and for people to get to know us. So now, how we deal with that? We offer many things. We have a permanent exhibition of more than 2,000 square meters, where we display the main concepts of the economy, so why we exchange, who are the actors, what are different markets, what are the crises we faced, and how we try to regulate them. We have also a treasury room in an original vault, a very impressive one. It looks like Harry Potter. I remember yesterday there was a reference to Harry Potter. It's very effective. But it does look like Harry Potter sometimes. So in addition to that, we have temporary exhibitions every 18 months or so. We produce shows, so theater shows on how to show the history of economy, the history of the money. We have workshops, guided tours, and also online content. So we have a website with videos and stuff. And everything is designed to be, like here, interactive and also edutaining, so a mixture of education and entertainment. Now, in 2023, before the project I'm going to talk about, we ran a study and we discovered most of our public were from Paris or the closer region from Paris. They were coming here for the first time. The motivation was to discover a new place. So it's good for the first years, but over the long term, it's maybe a bit limited. And on top of that, our attendance was not as good as we expected. I mean, it was okay, but we were not reaching our target. Boss were not happy. So we had to find a way to increase visibility and to have more attendance. So how to do that? So two choices. Either we do it alone because we think we are the best, or we try to collaborate. And of course, the answer is two. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in this room today. And so we collaborated with so we decided, so something I forgot to say, our public were scholars, adults, some families, but not much young children. And so we decided to precisely try to catch these new publics while developing an exhibition with a famous editing house, les éditions Albert René, who ran the comic book series Astérix et Obélix. So maybe you don't know. It's basically the story of a village who tried to resist against the Roman Empire invasion and basically beats them all the time. Like, okay, so it's fun, and plus there is nice moustache and helmets. So it's really it's a great comic book series. It's the most famous in France probably. And anyway, that said, we decided to do that first of all because it was very relevant with our objective, and also we wanted to benefit from the power they had in terms of communication. But on the other side, there was a risk doing this because, of course, this kind of collaboration costs a lot of money. So the financial guy, as I am, we ask ourselves, is it worth it to do this? Now, just an overview of the exhibition. So we decided to do it with. We decided to take the risk and to do it and to put a lot of energy and effort in it. And we designed an exhibition which is a combination in entertaining stuff, like photo booths. We had lots of games, but games young children know, like the naval battle or the Who's Who or this kind of games. Not that expensive to produce, actually, but very effective. And also education content. So we had panels, we displayed coins and explained stuff around this. And well, it did work. So I'm drafted here a list of the impact in terms of public. It was a great success. We discovered the public here was less Parisian. They came not for the first time. They came. There was less newcomers. More families, of course, and interestingly enough, the motivation changed from discovering a new place to go see this exhibition. And when seeing this exhibition, they would discover the rest of the museum. So it's an interesting shift for us. In terms of attendance, we quadrupled the attendance compared to other exhibitions, temporary exhibitions. So it's a huge success, and even it represented something like 40% of the attendance during the presentation. And it's enormous considering the space is like 400 square meters, the temporary space, compared to the rest. So it's like, I'm gonna do like 6 times less. So it's impressive. So now in terms of finance, well, it was also a success because, of course, we had more cost for this project. We had much more proceeds as well coming from the shop, which is a good way to have proceeds, basically, and of course the ticketing. And overall, the net project cost of this project was the same than the other temporary exhibitions. So it was worth it spending more to have more visitors, basically, that's the message. And lastly, in terms of reputation, there's a shift as well because we had a lot of reference in the press. We were much more visible for the press, and also for the professionals who would come to us to ask about this exhibition, much more than in the past. So for our young institution, it was very a good step forward. Okay. That's pretty much it. I thank you very much for your attention and tack. Okay.